Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of Pinfalls. This is a new Pinfalls. We're doing AEW, All Elite Wrestling. I, of course, am John, johnjsbeat.com. And with me, as always, Candace Cordelia, star reporter, interviewer, entertainment galore. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, John. It's been a while, so it's great to see you. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm excited about, breaking into the AEW world. I admit I haven't been as huge of an AEW follower as I was WWE, but you kind of dragged me into following them. And and then with the New York Comic Con, I met a lot of the guys there. So I'm excited about it. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. Likewise. I mean, I'm really excited to see how our predictions are going to be now that it's going from WWE to AEW. If we're going to, be in tandem, be in agreement, or if we're just going to be completely, like, nope, yes.
Speaking of our records, we're pretty good. I don't want to brag about us, but I am 30-9 overall, and you are 15-10 overall. That's pretty good considering like anything can happen in wrestling. So
I know. Let's see how we do with AEW. I'm really amped for this one. So
all right,
let's go.
Let's just jump into it. I'm kind of going to start from the back and work my way to we'll do the women's match last. I'm going to start off with a match that I like blows my mind. It's a 10-man tag Minneapolis street fight. We got the Inner Circle versus Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and the American Top Team. The reason why I said it blows my mind is because I hate 10-man tags. It just seems like, let's get a bunch of guys out there and show them some airtime. But anyway, so who are you taking in this?
Well, you know what? I have to say Inner Circle. I really have enjoyed seeing the different segments leading up to this match. I mean, the most recent one we had was a bit saucy with Paige Van Zant versus Jericho. But I really love, before getting into, or rather in tandem with getting into wrestling, as I was learning more also about MMA, I've grown to love Paige Van Zant, absolutely adore her. And I really like what she's doing in All Elite Wrestling. She has a great confidence about her, and it shows. So I can't wait to specifically see what her role will be in this matchup. But overall, I certainly think that Inner Circle is going to take it all. It's not going to be without, a fight, no pun intended, but I really think Inner Circle is just going to take this. And then perhaps the feud will continue to expand. If it falls flat after this, we'll see. But I hope that there will be something to come of this, some sort of, maybe we'll see interference from the Pinnacle. Maybe they'll be back in the picture. But I do think that Inner Circle will definitely come out victorious.
I agree. We'll start off with agreeing. Inner Circle has to win this one. I don't see any value in them losing this match. With no offense to the other team, the other five guys certainly are qualified, but I just think Inner Circle has more to lose by losing this. I don't think the other five guys lose as much if they lose the match. I don't think it really matters if they lose the match. So let's go to the second one. Falls Count Anywhere. It's Super Click, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks versus Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage.
Yeah, that's this one, I feel like it could go either way. I really think that this will be an awesome match in general. The audiences have really grown to love Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus is getting more shine recently, which is fantastic to see. And Christian Cage, he's like the mentor of the group. I don't know where Marco Stunt has been. Maybe he'll make an appearance. But, with all of that saying, I personally actually want to see Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage win this one. I love the Super Click. I think that should Christian, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy win, that'll be such a huge feather in their cap going forward. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that they're going to win this in Super Click. They'll have their chance. They have Adam Cole. They have other things that they can do going forward. I want to see Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage win this one. That's my personal fave.
I'm going on a limb with you then. We're both out there on the limb. I think Jungle Boy is going to be the star of this match. I followed him actually I talked to his father years ago, his late father, Luke Perry, and he told me that, my son's going up to be a wrestler. And then years later, I saw him wrestle for Resistance Pro in Chicago. And I mean, that might have been his first match, or it was very early on. And you could just tell the kid had star power. He had charisma, he has the ability, he's got a great look. I think this is going to be sort of his coming out party, and I think he's going to lead the team to win. So
I agree with you there.
We're both on that limb then.
I am shocked, though. I actually thought you were going to go with the Super Click.
I thought you were going to go with Super Click, but I thought Jungle Boy was my little surprise here, and then you got it. So great minds thinking alike.
Right.
Let's move on to Miro versus Bryan Danielson. The winner of this gets a future shot at the heavyweight title, which to me makes no sense because, like a future shot means what? At some point, they'll probably get a future. Both these guys are going to get a shot at some point anyway. But regardless, that's what they're billing this as.
Oh, this one's really tough. I mean, I love where Miro is right now in AEW. He's a powerhouse. He's just full of confidence. He's in his own element, so powerful. I mean, I can see him winning this. And I know that might be controversial because, I love Bryan Danielson. Everyone loves Bryan Danielson. I mean, if he wins this, that would be momentous going forward into AEW. But I think for storyline's sake, to me, it makes it a bit more. I just feel like there would be more to the meat of this storyline if Miro wins it. Like to just keep things going as they've been going. Bryan Danielson could certainly have another feud or several other feuds with other players in All Elite Wrestling, but I want to see Miro win this. I really do. And then, I mean, my wish is that he goes up against someone like Hobbs or Wardlow going down the future. And having said that, that makes me even more confident that Miro will win this, and I really do want to see him win this one. So fingers crossed for that.
Well, we have a difference. I think Danielson's going to win. I think the feud will continue. I think ultimately Miro will get a victory and probably the last victory in the feud, I'm guessing. But I think Danielson's going to win to continue. Kind of the same philosophy you had, but in reverse. I think Danielson's going to win to continue the feud and see where it goes. I think there's a little more life left in the feud.
Okay. So if he wins this, where would you want to see him go next? Like his next opponent, rather, or where do you see that going?
Who, Miro or Danielson?
Danielson.
Well, if he wins this, I think there's going to be a rematch. I think Miro, I think the next pay-per-view they fight again. Ultimately, who he fight? Ultimately, I'd like to see Danielson fight someone like Wardlow, like you said. I don't think MJF because I think they're grooming him for a title shot. So I don't think it goes there. At some point, we got to see the Punk versus Danielson fight at some point.
Of course.
What do
Absolutely
you think?
true. I mean, yeah, that's the first thing I think of when I think of Danielson is like, we have to see Danielson versus Punk going down to the future. And I do like the matchup of Danielson just like running roughshod, in the rankings of AEW and going up against the likes of Wardlow, where I don't see him and MJF. It makes sense. I absolutely agree with that. I think that MJF is being saved for something else, as we're seeing with him against Darby Allin. But this will be interesting now. I kind of was thinking we're going to go with Miro. So now I'm like, all right, we have our first disagreement. Let's see where this goes.
Well, we had one. All right.
I know.
So speaking of Punk, we got Punk versus Eddie Kingston in a very heated feud, which some people say mirrors real life. I don't know if you saw the promo. That was a pretty intense promo.
That promo was utterly fantastic. And the thing that I love about Eddie Kingston, is he keeps it real. Just as he is in the ring is how he is in real life. At least that's been my personal experience because I've interviewed him several years back and he's exactly how he is in the ring. He just is raw, real, very a New Yorker at heart. And that's what we love about him. So him cutting that promo, you could tell it was genuine. It was off the cuff. It was him. And everyone was so riveted seeing CM Punk's reactions to what Eddie Kingston was saying. And just, you could feel that tension at the end of it all. I was like, I can't wait to see this fight. So who do I want to see win? I love both of them. I want to see Eddie Kingston win this. I really do. I feel like should Eddie Kingston win this one, it's just going to make that feud so much richer, and it's going to give CM Punk more fire to just come back and, have that rematch, and then who knows what goes from there. So I'm going with Eddie Kingston for this.
Well, I'm going to reverse it, and I'm going with Punk. I think for the same reasons, I think Punk is going to win, and it's just going to fuel Kingston's fire more because, he's going to have to get back. He's going to have to get the rematch to it, and maybe Punk delays it and says, I've already beat you. Who knows? But I think Kingston to win right now, I'm not sure where it goes after that, because then he's beaten the Idol. What's left for him to do? Beat him again? Why would he do that? It could be anything. You could have called it completely on this one, and I could be eating my words and deleting the tape. But I'm with you though. I do love both these guys. I've always liked Punk. I know Punk has his detractors, and maybe for good reason, I'm not sure. I've always had great dealings with Punk. Brent, I've never run into him in the street, but on the street it's his own time anyway. But when he's at conventions, when he's at wrestling shows, he's always been cool. I have no problem with Punk, and I would like to see Punk win because I think that's going to just intensify this feud.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's anyone's guess with this one, and I feel you on that. I feel like no matter who wins with this, the feud is just going to intensify either way. I think people just have their favorites because both of them have such strong personalities, and they're both so well liked that either way you slice it, it's going to be a feud for the ages. So I'm personally really amped to see where this goes, and I can't wait for this particular match. I really can't. Exactly.
So we disagree on the outcome, but we agree on the match concept. This one's got potential to be the match of the night, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so how about Darby Allin with Sting versus MJF with Wardlow?
And you say match potential to be the match of the night. I think this is the other one that has potential to be match of the night as well. Likewise with some of the other feuds that I've been witnessing at AEW thus far. This one too is very seductive to watch because you have MJF who is MJF. Everyone knows MJF. Everyone loves to hate MJF. Another strong personality, excellent on the mic. And then you have Darby Allin, who's like the underdog, right? He's the one that comes in with his skateboard, beloved by people who feel like the other, quote unquote, right? And we all can empathize with someone like Darby Allin. So to see the underdog go up against MJF, who everyone loves, hey, this one, I, again, cannot wait to see what happens, particularly because we haven't, at least within this year, very few times have we seen MJF in the ring. He's been cutting a lot of excellent promos, but we haven't seen him do as much in the ring as the other folks in AEW within the male roster. So that's going to be another thing that we can just witness, that we are anticipating, is to see MJF's skills in the ring. And we know he's talented. We definitely know he's talented. So I think we're going to see some bloodshed in this one. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm going to go with MJF for this one. I think MJF, something's going to happen. We've seen MJF do his thing where, we think that the opponent has gotten the best of him, and then Wardlow steps in and something happens. I think we're going to see something else like that occur. However, the reason that I'm also highly anticipating this is because personally, I've been waiting to see that switch with Wardlow against MJF. It's going to be the night that happens. I truly hope so. I don't know. None of us really do, except those involved. But it'll be really great to see if this is the match where something happens, the ring is involved, Wardlow potentially messes something up, MJF gets mad, and then hopefully I'm hoping Wardlow switches on him, and then we have that turn, going from MJF winning this match, and then it's like, okay, now it's going to be MJF versus Wardlow. But that's my personal bucket list wish that I hope happens.
I like the way you think. I totally like the way you think. I agree completely with everything you said. I think MJF is going to win this. Darby Allin, I'm looking forward to this match. I keep repeating, like, I'm looking forward to this match too. This match, it's another one that I really like. I like Sting's involvement as kind of the mentor or whatever you want to call him. As long as he keeps in that role, I think it's a great role. I like the connection between MJF and Wardlow. I think that's a cool, connection between the two of them. I do think they're going to split, like you said. And so, yeah, MJF for the victory. So we've got two different so far.
All right.
All right, so now we go to the AEW World Tag Team Championship. We got the Lucha Brothers, champs, defending against FTR, which is Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood.
You know what? This one, I love me some FTR. I truly, truly do. I feel like if FTR loses this, what happens next? What are we gonna do? Where are they gonna go? My prediction is that the Lucha Brothers win. Because to me, it makes more sense. And I'm saying that even after I said, what would happen with FTR if they don't win this. But I think there's going to be something intriguing that comes out of this whole storyline, especially concerning FTR. I think that there's going to be someone potentially stepping that we weren't even expecting to come into or in between Lucha Brothers and FTR. But I do think that Lucha Brothers are going to win this. And then we're just going to see something really just unexpected take place with this. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's just the way I envision it happening.
Well, I agree with you. I think Lucha Brothers win. I think they have to win. I think they need to win to build them up just a little bit more. I think it's too early to take the titles off of them. I'm not really sure about FTR. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about them. From what I've seen, though, I mean, they seem great individually. I don't know about them as a tag team. I don't know if I don't know enough about them to say whether I like them or not as a tag team. From what I've seen, I think I'd rather see them separate, which might be the split after this match, or I could be completely wrong. If that's the case, then we'll just delete that whole part for both of us.
But you bring up something very interesting, John, about this whole idea of the split. And I know we have the Pinnacle faction. So we could see something very cool where, Lucha Brothers wins and then FTR does a split. And then we have this Wardlow. This is our whole dream list. Wardlow going up against MJF. And then there's Shawn Spears in the mix. We could see something really cool happen, just like a complete obliteration of the Pinnacle or something strange where there's, Shawn Spears with Wardlow and then FTR splitting. I mean, that would be essentially really, really cool. So, there is this sense of some sort of splitting happening or potentially could happen as a case with all of these matches just within the Pinnacle.
That's what I like. There's so many pieces involved in all this that aren't really intertwined, but could be intertwined and could lead to, which leads to a lot of questions. So it keeps everybody guessing. It's not like, well, yeah, they're going to do this, and we know that. We've picked 5 or 6 matches now, and any of them really, we've kind of been torn on pretty much all of them. So, yeah. But we who did you pick on this one? I picked
Lucha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we agree on that one. So we're still sitting at 2. Okay, so for the AEW World Championship, Title Championship match, we got Kenny Omega, the champ, defending against Hangman Page. Hangman Pierce is an indie wrestler that I've known for years, but he's not in this match. It's Hangman Page.
Well, kudos to both of the Hangmans. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Kudos, right? Exactly. Cheers. But yeah. This is another one that has me torn because Hangman Page is so beloved. I also love Hangman Page. His storyline is just like, it's great. It really is great within his whole journey in All Elite Wrestling. I feel like, and I've been reading some articles about this, people's opinions about this particular match and where they think Hangman Page's character is going to go. Does he have enough heat, to continue going on and so forth and so on. And I believe that, Kenny Omega is Kenny Omega, one of the world's greatest, right? I think and this might be an unpopular opinion, I actually think that Omega is going to win this. And then there's just going to be something that happens with Hangman where he kind of switches. So I'm going to go with Kenny Omega about this. I think as beloved as Hangman Page is, I think that for Kenny Omega to win, it's going to add much more flavor to the entire storyline. And I think that something will happen where we're just going to see something change within Hangman Page, not for the worse at all. I think his character is going to have more depth. There's going to be more added layers, and we're going to see something occur within Hangman Page that's just going to really, it's going to take us on a different path. It's going to be really exciting to see. So I'm actually going to go with Kenny Omega on this one.
Well, I'll agree with you that I think we're going to see something from Hangman Page. I think what we're going to see is the title belt around his waist at the end of the night. I think Page is going to win this. I love both these guys. I love Omega. Like I said, he's one of the best out there. But I think his time has come. I think he's done a great job with the title. But I think the title needs to change hands at this point, and Page is the one to do it. I think then Page goes into a feud at some point in the near future. As I mentioned earlier, I think he goes into a feud with MJF at some point. And then where Omega goes, Omega, as we said with all these other combinations, Omega could go anywhere. He could fight Punk. He could fight Danielson.
Very true. Very true.
We have a third difference.
I know. Look at us. Look at.
This is a strange territory all around. All right, now the big match. As we're doing this for Global Women's Sports Radio, so we're gonna hit the women's match, AEW's Women's World Championship. We have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, accompanied by Jamie Hayter and Rebel, versus Tay Conti, accompanied by Anna Jay.
Yes. You know what? Look, Britt Baker, DMD, gotta love her. She's going to win. As much as I, also another person I love me some Tay Conti, I don't think that Tay at this point is going to be the one to beat Britt Baker. I feel like Britt Baker is going to retain once again. And then, we're seeing Thunder Rosa kind of teaming up in some way, or at least helping or being encouraging of Tay and Anna Jay. So once Britt Baker, and this is just my prediction, once she wins, we're going to potentially see Thunder Rosa come out and they might have that, a stare down. I don't want to say showdown, but a stare down of some sorts. I think that in order for anyone to take away that title from Britt, it's either going to be someone like Thunder Rosa. There's talk of Jade Cargill. If anyone has been seeing the feud play out on Twitter lately between Britt and Jade, that's something that, it's simmering. So we have other contenders that I feel are in the making to take that title away from Britt, not Tay Conti at this point. So I'm going with Ms. Britt Baker, DMD, for this one.
I like the way you think. I hadn't thought of the Thunder Rosa possibility, and that's a great point you made there. Britt Baker's going to win this. They're going to keep her dominance rolling, and I like that. I like the fact that they're building her, and she's totally credible. I like the fact that they're building her into kind of a dominant champ. So that when somebody eventually beats her, it's going to be even more of a feather in that person's cap. I like the way you're thinking with Thunder Rosa. That could very well be. That would be a cool match to see. I do like Tay Conti. I just, as you said, I don't think it's her time yet. I think she's got a bright future. I talked to her a little bit at the Squared Circle Expo in Indianapolis. Very bright girl, loves wrestling, loves the whole bit, looks the part. Just a little too young, a little too inexperienced, not quite there yet, but she's going to be in the mix in the future. But I love
yes. Oh, yeah. I agree. And it's going to be a fun match. I think it's going to be really enjoyable to witness, and the crowd is going to love it. And I just really think we're going to see another showdown between Thunder and Britt at some point, or it could be Britt and Jade. I mean, there's other possibilities that are really intriguing to think about, but I just don't think, like you said, I think Tay Conti, her time will come. It's just not right now.
I love this whole card. There's so many great matches, and the more I delve into AEW, the more I'm enjoying it. Yeah, my only disappointment in the card, though, is I would have liked to see one more women's match. They've got a lot of women's talent, a lot of talented women on the roster, and we're only seeing one championship match. It's a great championship match, but only one. I would have liked to see one more women's match.
Yeah, me too. And there are so many other possibilities that could have happened too. But we do have the TBS championship. So I'm wondering, if down the line with more pay-per-views to come, if there is going to be, instead of having one women's match, we're going to see additional, at least a second one. But I agree with you. I really wish that there would be another women's match. There's so many others that could take place. It's a shame, but let's hope that going into 2022, we're going to see that. We'll see additional matches for the women on the pay-per-views. And then also I don't know if it's been announced who's going to be on the pre-show. Perhaps that'll be something that will take for the other women's match to come. And who that is will be anyone's guess. But yeah.
Now, as more of the expert on AEW, I'm going to throw this question to you. I haven't,
Sure.
I'm looking at the card. There's a lot of wrestlers on this card. As I mentioned, there's a 10-man tag, which seems to be just to get a lot of guys on the card. They're signing more guys, more wrestlers from the WWE. Do you think there's like, how are they going to be able to juggle all this talent? There's 9 matches on this pay-per-view, including a tag team match, including a 10-man tag match. How are they going to balance it all? Or do you think they'll be thinning their roster at some point?
That's the $1 million question, right? I mean, just the other day, Tony Khan stated that, and I believe this was for PW Torch, he had an interview where he was stating that essentially he is looking at some of the people that have been released recently from WWE, but also he can't possibly, sign everyone. It would be great if he could, but there's so many different parameters at stake in terms of being able to just, sign anyone, especially at this stage. And if you even go on Wikipedia, I love Wikipedia. I know sometimes it's not the most, the most efficient, or should I say the most, what is the word I'm looking for, John? Either way, accurate, exactly. Not efficient, the most accurate. But
it's helpful.
It is helpful. And when you look at the list of names and you see each edition, it's like, wow, they really, sometimes, I recently checked it out and I was like, wow, I forgot that some of these people they're still active on the roster. And then you're looking between active and inactive, it's still a huge roster. So yeah, at some point, I'm sure they're going to have to shave some people off. How that happens, it could just be waiting for the contracts to either expire, or perhaps someone will say, they'll bid adieu. We don't know. But I think essentially at some point between 2022 and 2023, we're going to see that happen. And then that will be interesting because we've seen how people have reacted to the WWE releases. It'll be more telling to see how folks will react for releases, or rather just contracts expiring and not being renewed, which I'm sure it's going to happen. It's just a wait and see. But yeah, I the predictions for who's going to go to AEW next, the fan favorites seem to be Keith Lee and Ember Moon, Mia Yim. I would love to see all 3 of them in AEW for sure. But then you also have Ring of Honor and that news too. And then you have folks saying, well, I would love to see, a Jonathan Gresham at AEW, or this other person, Dan Howden, right? So there's so much influx happening now, and it's like, it's anyone's guess as to what's going to take place in 2022. We might see Jonathan Gresham at AEW, we might not. We might see Keith Lee, we might not. Who's to say? And then there's still talk of Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, like they haven't shown up yet. But we're still like months later, considering the possibility of those 2 coming to All Elite. So it's like, what's going to happen next? But I do think out of all the names I've mentioned, we're going to see at least one of those people showing up at All Elite. At least one. Who it is, don't know, but there's going to be at least one. And then also with the women's division, folks would love to see more additions with the women's division. But that's up in the air because for a while, we all thought that the Inspiration would be at All Elite, and they ended up signing to Impact. So we could sit here and say, oh yeah, Ember Moon's, she's All Elite, but that's not, we don't know. It's not confirmed. So yeah, we're living in interesting times, John. But
remember, once to our good friend Tommy, who mocked me, I said my prediction Charlotte Flair would end up in AEW at some point next year. Now, with the recent hullabaloo that she's theoretically, whether it's storyline or not, who knows? But her and Becky Lynch supposedly have gotten into it a few times about various things. Again, I don't know if it's storyline or not, but if it's real life, that would only lead me to believe that she will be on her way out at some point soon.
Hmm. Yeah, and we had that conversation during our chat, right, about Charlotte, and when that happened, when the news came out about the dissonance between Charlotte and Becky, I thought of you both immediately. I was like, we actually talked about
We
this
did.
in
Absolutely.
depth and what our predictions possibly would be. And so far, I mean, it's so telling seeing, like, reading the comment boards and seeing where their thoughts lie. I mean, a lot of people think that it's split. Either they think that Charlotte will go to AEW to be with Andrade, and then there's others who really are adamant about it. They're just like, no, there's no way. Her contract is not up for years. Why would she go to All Elite? But just like in the past week, things that we thought would never happen actually happened. So who knows? Who's to say that Charlotte cannot end up at All Elite Wrestling?
Hey, 20 years ago or whatever, we never would have thought Bret Hart would be in WCW. Yet there he was. So anything can happen. It's so funny because people are so divided. It's worse than politics. People are so divided. They're either pro WWE or pro AEW, and I'm kind of in the middle. I like them both. I dislike some things. I like some things, but I don't know why people can't enjoy both or watch your one and don't watch the other. But man, there's like just such hatred back and forth at times.
Yeah, and I mean to ask, because you've been involved in wrestling much longer than myself, is this something that you've seen ever, in wrestling? Have you seen it be this intense where the fan base is so divided?
No, I've never seen it this bad, but there's never been, like when WCW was around, the internet either wasn't around or was at its very infancy. So there wasn't the chat rooms, the boards and all that stuff. So you couldn't really have that sort of thing. The social media has done great things, but it's also done some garbage things. So, but in terms of like my friends and I, we had our favorites, but it wasn't like WCW sucks and WWE is the greatest, or WWF at the time, I guess it was. We just we liked all wrestling. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, and we just watched it and enjoyed it for what it was.
Why do you think people are so gung ho about, like, just the tribalism? Why do you think that there's such a huge amount of tribalism in wrestling right now?
I just think a lot of people think that they know everything and they could write better storylines. And so if they're pro AEW, then everything with AEW is great, and everything Vince does sucks, and they could write better than Vince. The point is, Vince is running a multi-billion-dollar company that's been around forever, and he's done great things. On the other hand, AEW, in the couple of years that they've been in business, they've done fantastic for such a short run. Whether they'll last or not, only time will tell. But yeah, it's so bizarre how people they get their dog in the fight, and it's just it's full steam ahead with this, and everything else that the other company does just completely sucks.
Right.
It's not like that though. Not for me at least. I don't think it's like that for you. You might have your favorite, but you kind of enjoy both.
Absolutely. I enjoy it all, even besides AEW and WWE. I watch Impact. I try to keep up with MLW and NWA and NJPW and Stardom. Like, I'm trying to just see what's happening with all the promotions I possibly can. And it's really a shame. I mean, I get it, because it's kind of like, if you're looking at it from a perspective, because I used to work in the music industry as well, and it's kind of that same mentality where it's like, if you're in the independent music scene, you have your darlings, your favorites, and you don't ever want to see them go into the mainstream. And then when they hit the mainstream, you're kind of just like, oh, well, you sold out, but you're always the one that's like, I knew who they were first. I knew, right. And I feel like it's that same type of like tribalistic mentality in a way, but to see it happening in wrestling is a bit, I don't know, to me it's just strange, because I would think if you're a fan of wrestling, you'd be a fan of as many types of wrestling as possible. And if there's something you don't like, you don't like it. You don't have to like everything, but it's been such a ride over the past 2 years, even as soon as AEW has emerged, to see this like schism between really WWE and AEW fans. It's like, it's really intense. And to say how it's going to end up in years to come, we'll see. Once again, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, competition is good. The stronger AEW is, the stronger it should make WWE. And even the lesser companies, I know our Ring of Honor just is out, but Impact, even NWA, they're trying to do stuff with Billy Corgan's company and all the independent companies. I go to a bunch of indie shows around the Chicago area. We've got some great talent here, some of which has gone up through. I don't know, John Schuyler, who was just on AEW. He was, I saw him for years. He was Resistance Pro Champ, great guy. So, I get to see guys come up just like everybody else. And I don't care where they go, as long as they're going somewhere and they're succeeding.
Exactly. And that's, I like that mentality too, because at the end of the day, the whole business is in flux. It's changing rapidly. We're seeing all of these releases. We're seeing companies downsize. January 2022, between January and April 2022, at least when it comes to Ring of Honor, that we're going to see some major changes happening there alone just with that promotion. And then when you have all of these clauses up, the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day with the releases for WWE, we're going to start to see, well, where are those people going to end up? And I think, once again, we're just going to be in a place where what we thought was going to happen, it's just not going to happen. But that's down also to, when you alluded to this, the wrestlers, it's a business, and you want to see them go to the place that's best for them, that's best for their pockets, that's best for their well-being, health, and mental, and for their careers. So we just want to make sure that, they're getting paid, they're happy, they're working for all of our entertainment, and that they are safe in doing so. And it's just like, well, why get all up in arms if someone goes to,
Exactly.
So, like, all Elite Wrestling, they're working, and they're doing what they love to do. That's what we would hope for them. So at least that's how I see it.
Well, once again, we agree. So on that note, let's start wrapping this up. Before we go, I know you've been busier than busy. Tell everybody what you're doing, where they can find you.
Yes, thank you, John. So a lot has happened as we're talking about things in flux and things happening. So within the course of a month, as many of you may know, but if you don't know, I am a contributor, print and on camera, for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So I have written articles for the magazine, but I also have a YouTube show called Face Turn with Candace Cordelia. So please check that out on the Pro Wrestling Illustrated YouTube channel. I have a lot of fantastic guests that you are very familiar with. And we have some special things happening between now and Christmas that's upcoming with interviews. So please do check it out. I've had guests such as Frankie Monet. I've also had Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green, names go on and on. I've had some wonderful people, Joey Ace too, someone to look out for. So please do take a look at what we have in store, and you're not going to want to miss it. And also, I am a new contributor with Busted Open Radio that just happened last month in October. And my first time being on the show, I was with the wonderful David LaGreca and Mark Henry, and we chatted about the PWI Women's 150 issue, which is out now. I do have it next to me. So it is out now. Please do pick it up. It is a fantastic issue. We put a lot of hard work into the list. Number 1, Bianca Belair. Very excited for the list to be out right now for everyone to read up on their favorite wrestlers, or to at least learn about some wrestlers that you have never heard of before, particularly the Joshis. A lot of women from Stardom are on the list, and that was a huge point of discussion on social media. But if you have never heard of a lot of these women, definitely check out the list. The PWI Women's 150. I'm really proud to be a part of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So we have a lot of awesome things happening. So do keep in touch and stay tuned. That's it. That's my.
It's 150 for the first time ever, which is, it grew from 50 to 100. Now it's 150. That's fantastic. It's awesome that you're part of all that. With Illustrated, I'm following your videos. I watch them. I was Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona. That was really cool. Not that the others weren't. I follow them all, but that one I really liked. I was like, wow, she got Chelsea Green. That's really cool. So I'm a big fan. I encourage everyone else to check out Candace on all of her platforms, and check her out here on Pinfalls once every month when we cover the AEW. This is our first one, so cut us a little slack, or cut me a little slack while I fumble over my words.
You did good, John.
I think I need to wrap this one up because and I got a Bears game coming up, and hopefully they'll win. So for Candace, Cordelia, this is John of johnsbeat.com. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see how we do. Thanks, Candace, and enjoy your month.
Yes, enjoy yours as well. We will be back with another excellent episode of Pinfalls, and don't forget to watch All Elite Wrestling. Full gear, y'all. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, folks. Thanks for listening.
Bye.